Welcome to Mamahood After Trauma, where healing and mamahood intersect. I'm Emily, your host. Join us as we discover practical strategies to nurture ourselves with kindness and understanding. Stay tuned for insights and inspiration to support you on your path of healing and growth. Let's dive in together. This is Mamahood After Trauma. Hello. Welcome to this bonus episode of the Mamahood After Trauma podcast. I am so excited that you have taken some time out of your day to tune in and listen. These bonus episodes are episodes that are above and beyond our weekly episode. And inside of these episodes, I am addressing a question that many people are asking and sharing my insights into the answer to that question. So this week, our question that we are diving into is, how do you release childhood trauma? This is a question that I pondered for such a long time because, it really felt like there was a dark cloud looming over my head that no matter what I did or what therapist I saw or, any of those situations, circumstances, perceived solutions that I tried, it was still there. And so after many years of feeling like there was this black cloud looming over my head, I had accepted that that's how my life was going to be. And I'm so glad that I was wrong because there are so many challenges that trauma survivors face. And so throughout this episode, I'm going to share some of the challenges that we face with releasing trauma, with releasing our childhood trauma. And then I'm going to share 3 or 4 steps that you can take now, you can begin to take now to help you to start releasing that trauma. So let's dive in, shall we? All right, so let's start with the challenges. Okay, and we'll leave the steps that you can take to the end. So one of the challenges that typically a trauma survivor can face, many people can face this challenge, in fact, is that they are lacking a good support system. A support system, when your aim is to heal your trauma, their role needs to be one of truly 100% authentic support. Okay, so if you are still connected with your family of origin or the people who caused the trauma, and you are looking to them to offer support in your healing, that's probably not going to go very well. Especially if those people are not aware that healing is required, or if they are not aware that their behavior deeply impacted you, and now you are looking to heal from that. So connecting yourself, bonus tip right here, connecting yourself with a community that understands where you're coming from, a community that has the same sort of goal in mind is huge. It's huge for your healing journey. It's a make it or break it kind of a thing. Because if you are going to someone for support in your healing journey and they are gaslighting you, they are manipulating you, they are making you feel like you are the problem, they're making you feel like you're crazy for feeling the way that you feel, that's not helpful to your healing. That's actually going to cause more damage. And so this tug of war that exists with finding a support system where you feel safe, where you feel heard, where you feel validated in your feelings, where you feel like you can be open and honest is a challenge because many trauma survivors have trusted people with their words, with their conversations, and then their words are thrown back in their faces and weaponized against them. And so making sure that you have a community that is open to listening to you, open to being supportive, open to holding space for you is huge. Another challenge is the fear. The fear of feeling the feelings, the fear of being hurt again, the fear of if you allow yourself to feel the feelings, to work through the feelings, then you will cease to exist. You will implode or something of that sort. And those are really, really challenging feelings. Fear that you're going to hurt someone by working through your feelings. That's a very real feeling. If you have been made to feel like the trauma was your fault, and it wasn't your fault, especially if you were a child in the situation, you were a victim of the circumstance. And that sucks. And that's hard. That doesn't make it your fault. So fear can be a very real thing that can lead to your freeze response, your fight, flight, freeze, fawn response. But the thing that we need to recognize often, and this isn't always the case, but often it is that on the other side of working through those big, tough to handle emotions, on the other side of that fear, there's freedom. And so what I want to encourage you to do is to not feel like you need to work through this stuff alone. Healing trauma can feel incredibly isolating, but it doesn't have to. Motherhood can feel incredibly isolating, but it doesn't have to. And doing the two at the same time just amplifies things tenfold. But there are communities of support out there for you. The Mamahood After Trauma Inner Circle is one example of a community that's out there ready to support you in your healing journey. we interrupt this amazing conversation for a word from our sponsor. Are you tired of feeling like you're on an emotional roller coaster in mamahood? Ready to break free from the fear and frustration that's holding you back? Introducing Mama Untriggered private podcast series, a transformative 5-episode journey to help you calm your nervous system and reclaim your strength in mamahood. In each episode, we'll guide you through practical, actionable steps to understand your triggers, build your trigger toolbox, and harness the power of community for support. Say goodbye to those moments of overwhelm and hello to more peaceful, empowered you. You didn't become a mama to spend your day on edge. It's time to take control of your emotional well-being and create a positive, joyful experience for you and your littles. Ready to break free from the emotional roller coaster? Subscribe now to the Mama Untriggered private podcast series and start your journey to a calmer, happier mamahood today. All right. Now, let's talk about some steps that you can take to begin your healing journey, releasing your childhood trauma. Because, it really does show up in your life in ways that you don't understand until you begin to heal, because it's become this extension, if you will, of you. And it's become normal for you. And so it's not until you begin to heal that you can understand all of the different ways that your trauma is showing up in your life. So the first step that you need to take, or that I take with my clients when I am working with a client one-to-one, is we go through a process of acknowledging where you are currently. Okay, because we cannot change what we don't acknowledge. If we keep our head buried in the sand and we just accept everything the way that it is, then it's hard to make the changes, right? Because it's like taking a stab in the dark. Like, maybe this is a problem, maybe it isn't, but I'm going to try it anyway. I'm going to try and fix it anyway. So acknowledging, like truthfully acknowledging where you're at, what you're feeling, what you're struggling with. So if you're triggered by your child, let's use this as an example. If you are triggered by your child and you find yourself yelling, okay, it happens to 99.9% of parents. I'm going to go out on a limb and give that number. At some point, you may yell at your child. Are you thinking about the real reason why you have yelled at your child? Is it because you felt unheard? Because 99.9% of the time, when we are triggered by our children, we are not actually upset because our child is behaving the way that they are. We are upset because the way our child is behaving is reminding us of a time when we felt a certain emotion, and our inner child is screaming for attention. So then instead of being able to help your child regulate their emotions, you are now figuring it out for yourself. And that's okay for a time. Don't stay there. So acknowledge where you're at, what you're feeling. The second thing, and this is easier said than done. And I fully recognize and understand that. You need to feel your feelings. And that can be really, really scary. That can be so, so scary. But it is not until you work through the feelings that you have surrounding your trauma that you will begin to heal. Okay, because your body remembers. It remembers all of the things that happened. You might not remember all of the things that happened because it's a survival mechanism, but your body remembers. And so allowing yourself to slowly, with guidance if necessary, peel back the layers of emotion and work through them. Maybe that's with a therapist. Maybe that's with a therapist and a psychologist. Maybe that's with a therapist, a psychologist, and a coach. You know, maybe that's with the best friend. You know, however, whatever route, because there are a million routes, helps you the most, with the most benefit in the healthiest way to feel your feelings and work through them, then you can begin to heal. And so the third step, and I've touched on this a little bit, the third step is doing some reparenting work with yourself. And oftentimes that means that you're growing up with your kids. That statement is true for me. I've been growing up with my kids because my nervous system could not handle the overstimulation of motherhood. I couldn't function. So I've had to learn how. And so this is where having a trigger toolbox comes in handy. And I don't mean like an actual toolbox that you carry around with you. I mean, a trigger toolbox is a collection of coping skills and strategies that you can call on in a moment's notice. You're driving in traffic and somebody cuts you off and your nervous system goes on the fritz. You've got a strategy that you can use to keep yourself from losing your ever-loving mind. Your kid throws a temper tantrum in the middle of the grocery store, you've got a strategy so that you're not yelling at your kid in the middle of a grocery store, making the situation worse. So building a collection of resources, of skills, of strategies that help you to calm down. So the things that help me to calm down may not be the same things that help you to calm down. And that's okay. And the thing that helps you calm down today might not be the same as the thing that's going to help you calm down in 3 months from now. That's okay. Because as you heal, the strategies that you find helpful will evolve. So approach this as a journey. Okay, healing is a journey, it's not a destination. And that may be cliche, but it's the truth. It's a journey. It's not a destination. And it's also not linear. There are days that are going to be harder. Sometimes it might feel like you take 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. That's part of healing. And you will get through it. You will get through it. It's not going to be easy, but it is doable. So that is what I wanted to share with you today. I hope that you found value in it. If you did, please hit the subscribe button so that you can follow along with the rest of the Mamahood After Trauma podcast. And if something stood out to you, please leave a comment or a review. I would love to hear your thoughts, your takeaways. And if you're looking for a community to join, come and join us in the Mamahood After Trauma Inner Circle. I would love to have you. Alrighty, friend. See you next time. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to tune in to this episode of the Mamahood After Trauma podcast. If you would like more of the Mamahood After Trauma community, make sure to look in the description of this episode for the link to become a Mamahood After Trauma Inner Circle member. Until next time, Mama, keep